Okay, we're live. I'm starting up again with my music memories. I did a few of them in the past, and I'm trying to start again in 2021. And the first one for this year, I'm joined by Randy, Harmonica Man, who's another YouTuber. I've seen him a few times in chats, and I've watched a few of his little hangouts that he's done. And basically, you hang out, chat, and play harmonica, didn't you?
Yeah, that's pretty much about it. I invite musicians to come on and show off their stuff, but there's very few of them that want to join lately. I don't know why. But that's what it's all about, just promoting the music and having fun with everybody. On my channel. But it's, yeah, I guess we're going to talk about my memories. Now, I didn't always be a harmonica player. I started off at the age of 5, and then I stopped right up until I was in my early 20s, and then I picked it up again because my friends were all into other stuff, and I got into some stuff too.
Right.
And one memory I'm going to share is Rat Out of the Cellar, and it's pretty popular. Oh, that was kind of green, doesn't it? Huh, that's pretty neat how that does that. Anyways, Rat Out of the Cellar.
The green screen. 80s.
Yeah. Yep. Oh, it's kind of mess it up. I mean, it takes a lot of computer processing to do stuff like that. But yeah, things like Dio and AC/DC and stuff like that, I was into. But the first concert that I ever went to was Rat and Poison.
Okay.
And Rat was the headliner, and Poison was actually opening up for them. And it's so Poison, they just kept on talking. The guy was talking about his big wiener and going on and on and on about it. Brett Michaels, just a big smart ass. And he just kept on doing that stuff, and we're all like, yeah, man, shut up, just play the music. And they really wouldn't do it, but eventually they did, of course. And then by then, everybody had a good couple of beers in them. But then Rat came out, and they started running back and forth on the stage, and it was a big stage too. It was a place called the Castle.
Right.
And it was one of the biggest places in northern Michigan. It's in Charlevoix, Michigan, and it was a big old concert thing. But since then, the town voted it down, for being that thing because it's just too loud and too much traffic, and people were just wreaking havoc in a tiny town after the concert.
Right.
So
that's a shame. It's a shame when that happens, but
yeah. But we did though. We had an awful lot of fun.
Yeah.
I
didn't realize you was.
They called it. Oh, go ahead.
I didn't realize you was a bit of a metalhead. I didn't realize you was in. I thought you were like, I don't know, country and western and blues or something like that. I didn't know there was like yours like the glam rock. I'm more into the heavier stuff. Like Poison and Rat to me were like, not my. I like the heavier, faster kind of stuff.
Right. Well, I like a lot of Metallica and bands like Accept.
No.
Accept, they use a lot of classical intonations in their music writing, so it just comes together very well melodically, and they're just a great band to listen to. Not very many people know about them because they weren't quote unquote popular back then, but
big in Europe though. They're quite big
good.
In Europe. Balls to the Wall. I know a couple of Accept songs. Fast as a Shark and Balls to the Wall are the only two of Accept that I know.
You should hear Princess of the Dawn.
Right.
That's a good one. It's got a lot of heart in it, and their video has like medieval artwork. It is just fantastic. You won't miss out if you watch that video just for the artwork alone.
They're still going strong now as well, aren't they? Like granddads, like they're as easy as old as Judas Priest, and they're still, and even the old singer Udo is like, he looks like a little old man, but he's still rocking out as as hard as anybody.
Yep.
So they say the old rockers never die kind of thing. They just he just carried on going. It's like, did you like Motorhead? Like Lemmy carried on right to the end, didn't he?
Yeah, I never really got into Motorhead that much, but I've heard a few of theirs. But
Yeah.
growing up, I wasn't really, I wasn't allowed to listen to the devil's music,
Oh
so
yeah.
I was pretty much held back. So I only had like half the exposure when I was a late teenager to early 20s. So I really
Yeah.
didn't get to experiment with a whole lot of music, just a little bit that I could afford at a time,
Mm.
and whatever was playing whatever at parties.
Did you have to
But
sneak music back
yeah,
into the house? So you,
yeah, yeah. Well, my mom was really religious, and a lot of it was back in the '80s when they had the Satanic Panic and
yeah.
all of our records. We had a stack of records almost as tall as I was when I was like 7 or 8 years old, and they all went down to the church to get burned. Um, so there goes all our music. We had a lot of classic like Johnny Cash and
yeah.
rebel country, that my dad listened to.
Well,
And
everything was considered devil's music then, was it? What was
but
allowed? Just religious music.
yeah, that was it, just religious. And we got rid of the television, and once a week we got to listen to a radio program of like Christian stories. Sailor Sam and all his friends, they're having all these little
Right.
adventures and stuff, and then they do their little lesson content kind of thing. But
Mm. Was it?
still, at the time I thought that was kind of neat, but not really. I missed out on the world.
Yeah, that's true. What about other music? Like that was the like rebellion music, I suppose. Like we're getting into that because you weren't supposed to. But was there anything as a kid that you enjoyed?
Um, I really wasn't paying too much attention to it as a kid. Just what my relatives had. Um, a few old Irish records um,
Right.
playing, like classical songs and kind of fun, popular bar songs and stuff like that. And the country. And my cousins was into rock and roll a little bit, and some of they weren't quite the glam hair bands yet, but they were
Yeah.
in the early '70s. So the
Right.
early '70s to late '70s is what they listened to when I was a child, and
Mm.
I didn't really listen to too much other than that. I just wasn't exposed to any of it
Yeah.
until later on. Yeah, yeah, that is ironic. And you know what's funny about that? So, werewolf, that the porn stars wear crosses. All the prisoners have tattoos of crosses.
yeah.
Everybody who's religious is the biggest sinners, and it doesn't matter which religion it is. They're the they're the worst.
Like
It seems
pretty got
like.
the most to atone
But
for,
yeah,
I
I
suppose.
didn't. Yeah,
Yeah.
but yeah, I didn't get into too much of the pop music. There wasn't that much of it that interested me at all because uh, it was stupid. It had Michael Jackson and people like that. That I just wasn't interested in it at all. It didn't sound badass enough. But
Right.
I was getting into some pretty hard metal for a while there, and I still listen to it once in a while. At 51 years old, I'll be like, okay, it's 3 o'clock in the morning and I'm wide awake. What do I do? I know. I'll turn on the death metal station.
yeah.
So
Good
I'm
idea,
running
mate.
around the
Good
house.
idea. It's, I find death metal for
Yeah,
any
no,
mood. Death metal suits my mood any time of day.
you're right. I have to calm myself a lot of the times. My mind is because of the PTSD and
right.
other soldier junk.
That's
I
right.
need to. I get angry at a lot of things, and I need to almost
Calm
meditate.
music.
So I
Right.
listen to some Baroque classic
All right.
and some very slow blues, and even the YouTube channels where they have the rain falling all night,
Right.
and you can black out the
Right.
screen and it just sounds like you're sleeping in the rain, stuff like that, and that really calms me. But
yeah.
it rejuvenates me enough to where I don't have anything in my head that I'm like any music. so I can be creative as soon as I get up. It's a blank
Right.
slate, and things come to me. What kind of a beat could I start off and start playing? And I write a lot of my own music. I haven't produced any of it yet, but I'm getting there. I'm getting on my first album coming up.
Mm.
But and speaking of which, go back to the memories and
Yeah.
stuff. Let's see. My influences were a lot of these blues players, like Sugar Blue. He played for the not the Doors, the Rolling Stones.
Right.
Played "Miss You." Dun 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 dun. Well, he's just phenomenal. But I was supposed to meet him one time in North Carolina. I won a blues contest, and I was supposed to play with him like the following week. Unfortunately, I was a soldier, and
Ah,
we were in the field more than we were in the barracks.
right.
So I had to go out and practice and do the thing. And little Walter, greatest harmonica player that ever lived. He just a little bit of influence. He
Yeah.
studied with jazz horns and stuff like that. But it just another harmonica player to me to be influenced by. And
Mm.
Charlie Musselwhite too. He was one of my teachers way back in the day in my early 20s. This guy's been on over 150 albums.
Right. Cool.
He's
Yeah, because a lot of
he's
those guys were like session musicians, did everything, didn't they? Played all up and down the country, went into like studios to play with loads of other people.
right, right, exactly.
Mm.
And he's on everybody's albums, and he's got a couple dozen of them himself. But and he's got a lot of TV theme songs and stuff like that he plays also. That's
Okay.
half of his recording. So then I started, when I started off, my friends were still listening to all these rock and roll things, and they started getting into Garth Brooks and I was influenced a little bit by Stevie Ray Vaughan because he was a rocker also,
Mm.
as well as a blues. He was kind of a rock and blues. ZZ Top, they are considered the same thing, Texas blues, but they're
Mm.
really just to me they're just kind of flat. But so I just started in order to practice. Everybody else was into guitar, and I couldn't play guitar worth a diddly. I was
Right.
just starting off, and everybody else was already pretty good at it. So I said, and I got to do something. So I picked up, in my late teens, early 20s, somewhere around there, picked up the harmonica again and went to the store and asked the people, okay, what's some old harmonica blues or whatever. To get like James Cotton. He's an old guy that's been
Right.
playing simple blues like that for forever, ever since my
Mm.
dad was a child, pretty much. And he's one of the original blues guys too. But I started listening to some of his stuff and Sonny Terry and Brownie McGee,
Yeah.
and I'd
I,
listen to
know-
this stuff.
I was hoping he was going to mention them too
Yeah,
because
go
I do a
ahead.
podcast. I do a podcast with my dad. My dad does a rock and roll podcast, Catman Jack's 50s Hop, and he's always playing Sonny McGee, Sonny Terry and Brownie McGee. So I was wondering if you was going to bring them up.
Yeah. I used to play this. Well, it's another good memory. I had a friend that, well, she was my roommate, but she was older than me. There was nothing going on. So just so you know, we were just roommates. But her van broke down, and she was a cleaning lady for this big resort um, condominium project. And so a couple times a week she'd have to go in these condominiums and clean. Well, we'd put all of her stuff in my trunk of my car, and then we'd go to this place, and I'd help her get stuff up in the building and everything, and then I'd come out and I started practicing with Sonny Terry and Brownie McGee in the in the car slot.
Yeah, on
And
the
then it
stereo.
was I just started learning a little bit more rhythmatic things to do and breathing techniques, and I just took it slow and tried to emulate sounds. Like, how are they doing that? And I do that, a couple times a week, and I try out other CDs and things too. I don't have a lot of them. I got a couple hundred of them, but I
Mm.
have a collection all the way back to chronograph days to up till now, so
Right.
far as blues goes. And half the people I've met, like Dan Aykroyd, from the Blues Brothers.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, he's an actor. I played with him and
All
Jim
right.
Belushi at the House of Blues in Chicago. Quite.
Huh.
So I got one of their CDs, and they wrote "Thanks Harmonica Man" on there.
That's
But
cool.
yeah, there's. I've been influenced by all kinds of people. I try not to just get stuck in a rut for one
Yeah.
thing or another. I try to learn to do other things. That way, I'm more precise and more articulate in
Right.
my playing, but yet paying an homage sort of to the greats that have these songs already out there that blues players are already playing their gigs with.
Right.
So I just practice just about every day. I'm playing, and and then I'll really practice before I make a video or something. Usually,
Yeah.
sometimes I just get
Right.
on behind the camera and get it done and over with. It depends
'Cause
on how I'm feeling for the day.
do you know much about the history of the instrument? I mean, how long ago was the harmonica first invented? You got any idea on that kind of? Have you looked into it at all?
The harmonica was invented somewhere in the mid 1800s in Germany,
All right,
and it
that's
was meant
interesting.
for. Yeah, it wasn't meant for bending or blues or anything. It was meant for just straight key
All right.
playing. But it took later on when it came to America. Over the boats, it started taking on a new meaning.
Mm.
And coming out of the slave era and everything here in like the early 1900s and late 1800s, there wasn't anything to play that was, nobody could play classical, and most people were undereducated in the,
Mm.
the black people, like Muddy Waters and or well, just name some classical bluesmen,
Probably
like
Lee.
that. I'm drawing a blank right now, but they start off getting a couple of wires or something off a screen door and
Yeah.
then tying them to the
Yeah.
back of their barn or something. Put a bottle
Yeah.
behind it, twang, 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 twang. Another
Yeah.
bottle there, and that's what they did. And they just create themselves a rhythm and just start singing and stuff. And they made their own instruments like that. When the harmonica, uh, they started blowing on that. They usually did like the first position. Like, now I'll show you. The
I
first
suppose they must
position is the
experimented
first.
as well, mustn't they?
Yeah, they did. They,
Mm.
they did a lot. But here's what. That's what it was supposed to sound like when it come from Germany, and it was supposed to be accompanied to some classical whatever they had going on there, some
Mm.
Bavarian crap. But when the bluesmen come along, they just then they'd start the 12 bar progression. They
Right.
on the draw they figured out if you go to the second hole, it turned into a different key altogether.
Right.
2 3 4, 2 3 4, and then they just fill it in. And that's what they did with their simple blues, and that's pretty
Yeah.
much what it took right up until about the 1950s. There were doing that same formula over and over and over again. You know, the 1-4-5 progression.
Right. I think another
And I'm
thing with
just
the
learning what some of this stuff means.
another thing with it's so portable, isn't it? You just put it in your back pocket, stick it in your pocket, your coat pocket, and you can carry it anywhere with you. Then they used to go up and down the train lines, like the hobos with the harmonicas, because there's like a thing where they like imitate the train noise, isn't there, on the harmonica as well? I think.
Oh yeah, yeah, I've done it. The old band Blackfoot, they played that song "Train Train." That was my most requested song for maybe 20 years, and now I can't stand playing it.
Right, yeah, because I know there's a lot of different. Because I say my dad does a podcast, 50s podcast, and there are always people doing train songs. There's even one band that got a song called "Not Another Fucking Train Song." So,
yeah, I can imagine.
Yeah. Also, what they say in like rock and roll, and they call it a harp, didn't they? The harmonica, they call it a harp. Have you heard that?
Yeah, a mouth harp. I don't know why. They started doing that, but there is a lot of nicknames for it, like Mississippi Tin Sandwich, and I don't know. You know, there's just a lot of
different
pocket full of soul,
right?
You know, stuff like that. It just depends on which region it comes from. You know, it's kind of like a nickname for it, and it's all in the American South. It's the name Harmonica Man is a colloquial usage, just kind of like if somebody's playing guitar, you're a guitar man. You know, if you're playing saxophone, you're a sax man. Well, the Harmonica Man, they just called me that. Nobody could remember my name, and it turned into, okay, here's the one and only Harmonica Man. It turned into that because I was playing for everybody. You know, I toured behind Eric Clapton, and you know, I've been on, you know, on the bus, you know, with BB King. I met him anyways. Played a little bit with Robin Ford and Johnny Lang, you know, people like that. And I toured behind Quiet Riot for about a year with a hard blues band that came out of North Carolina. So that was fun. And after every show, you know, all the girls thought that I was part of them. So I had to get myself a magic marker and sign their boobies also.
Sounds like a good job.
Good time. Yeah, it was.
Yeah.
But yeah, it helped them get set up and all that stuff too. But yeah, and then there was another album. This is probably the last one I'm going to show you, but Billy Branch and the Sons of the Blues.
Okay.
He's right there in the white hat. He is he's a harmonica player, and he's one of the top ones on the planet. And he showed me a couple things, but I met him right here in Traverse City, Michigan, when I was studying the harmonica a little bit more. I'm like, okay, who is this guy that's going to the college museum? You know, because they're setting up these musical gigs, you know, all winter long at the college museum. So I'm like, okay, I'm going to go check him out. And it was just a fantastic show. He got off the stage, and he had a remote, and he just turned the remote on and everything, and get off the stage, and he'd do his little act, and he'd go around and go between the chairs, and getting everybody involved, and he'd go and grab people, and you know, like pull them up, you know, to dance with him and stuff like that as everybody was walking around. And then he'd get back up on stage, whatever, and then the rhythm would change, and he'd just start wailing on it, you know, and just tearing that shit up. And I'm like, okay, that's what I want to do. That's going to be me. That's what I want to do. And the funny thing is, though, he was late getting there because his bus got a flat tire, and we had a blizzard that night, and we had like 2.5 foot of snow within a few hours.
Right.
And they had a hard time just getting to the place. And years later, when I was out in Wyoming playing, and I was just living out there for a while, there was this big old canyon, and there was a bar built right into the side of the cliff, and kind of like a miner's cave sort of thing.
Right.
And it was nice and dry there and everything. But when Billy Branch was playing, he was one of the acts, and I saw him come in the bar while I was trying to order a drink, and the bartender, she wasn't paying any attention to me for some odd reason. She acted like she didn't want to serve me. But Billy came in there, and he ordered a cognac on the rocks, and I'm like, hey, do you remember? So the last time I saw you was in Traverse City, Michigan. You had a flat tire on your bus. And he's like, oh, yeah, that's right. It was cold as hell. And I said, give me a cognac, too. So we both sat there and had a cognac on the rocks.
Yeah, cool.
So, I got pretty lit up. But, they had a sound man that didn't know what the hell he was doing. And they were playing. All the bands were playing and doing their thing. And then Billy got up there, and they forgot to turn his sound on. So he was standing there playing for like 2 minutes without anything going on. So I had to go back to the tower and get up there, and I'm like, hey, dummy, that guy right there, he's the headliner, and nobody can hear him. What is wrong with you?
Yeah.
So we adjusted the sound and everything. He appreciated it. So, we had a good time that day anyways. But it was a big influence on me with the energetic way, even though it was mediocre to slow blues. It was a very energetic way to put on a show and just have good showmanship, and it really influenced me quite well.
Yeah. So what about, I mean, obviously, though you can't do no gigs with Corona or nothing, but is there anywhere to play where you are now? Like, do you have like a jam night anywhere, or are there likely to be any in the future when this is all over with? Or are you just online?
Well, I can't seem to just online. I can't find anybody to jam with and do anything. And even the musicians that I'm recording with and talk a big story about, doing stuff, they don't have the discipline. They won't even answer me back, but they'll only get a hold of me when they want me on their album. So, and it's like, are you a musician or a mouse? Do something or quit.
Yeah.
So
it's awkward.
With everything shut down, I was thinking about starting my own thing.
Yeah.
And I'll think of a good plan. I'll get back out there again.
You need to do like a one-man band. There's quite a few like one-man bands now. They sit down, they've got the guitar, they've got a drum pedal, and then they do the harmonica as well. You could probably rock all three and do a bit of singing when you're not, blowing on the harp. How's your singing voice?
Yep, I thought about that a lot. Oh, it's not too bad. I guess. Excuse me.
It's quite
Some
a good
people
one.
say
I've
it's
heard
pretty good, but
right. There's one. Have you ever heard a guy called Dollar Bill? I think it's called Dollar Bill, and he does that. And I've heard a few of his tracks. He's quite good.
No, I haven't.
You have to check him out on YouTube. He's quite current, I believe. But yeah, it must be hard to play three in the same time.
From Australia. Yeah, it is. I tried busking, but it seems like every place I go to where there's foot traffic, there's already somebody there, and it's like they want to pick a bum fight or something and tell me, well, no, man, we got to pay the bills. We got to pay the bills. And it's like, I'm not going to take your 50 cents, you big dummy. I mean, if you want to pay the bills, you shouldn't be out here on the street playing. You never play music on the street and expecting money. What you do is you go get a job.
Yeah. We've got a question from the chat. Werewolf at Lunchtime wants to know, what's your favorite English band?
Boy, that's a toughie. I really don't know. I don't know of a lot of English bands unless it's like the I don't know, just it's like the old rockers from the 60s and 70s.
Yeah.
But I'm really not familiar with English bands.
Like Rolling Stones or something like that?
Yeah, I don't know. They're kind of I don't know if Robin Trower. I don't know if he's American or English or
Oh, I don't know.
what.
I'm not. No, I don't
But,
know. There's always Iron Maiden. If you
but
like a bit
yeah,
of
I'm
metal,
yeah, I'm
Iron
completely
Maiden.
lost.
Yeah.
Yeah,
All
and
right.
there's a thing too. You know, half of the artists that everybody thinks is uh, they're Canadian. It's a surprise. It's like, oh, you're
Right.
Canadian? Well, yeah. We talk just like you stupid Americans. And it's like, what? Yeah, and you play rock and roll just like us too. Like, yeah,
Yeah.
that's
Have
why
we
we're
got?
here taking your money.
Yeah, well, that's true. And we go home. We've got better healthcare when we get home as well.
Right. Yep.
All right. You got any more? Any
That is
more?
true.
Any more things you want to? Any more? We're in about 3 show and tell so far. You got anything else you want to show us?
Um, Not right off the bat. I don't have
How many
anything
harmonicas do
music
you own?
wise that
Yeah. How many harmonicas do you
well, let's
own? Do you
see.
have
I got about a dozen right now.
different ones for different
I'll
tones and
show you.
different styles, or?
See if I can do this without spilling them.
Oh, I see. It's a
So I
tray.
got that
Okay.
small case of them.
Yeah.
Yeah, and there's about a dozen of them in there, and then I got a few more in a big box that
Is it
I've had
different?
made for me. Like
Okay.
covers are from France and the reeds are from Germany and stuff like
All
that
right.
too. But I'm gonna get custom harps made pretty soon from a guy in Tennessee, I think, and I'm gonna
Right.
have my name on them and just specialty everything that's gonna fit me. Um,
Right. Do
so
they come
he
like
said, yeah, I'll do these for you.
different sizes for different tones or something like that? Is what's the point of having more than one? Is it different uses do you get out of them?
Um, well, figure it this way: there's only 10 holes in the regular diatonic harmonica,
Right.
and you're only going to get so many keys out of it. Now, let me see if I can find my charts here, and I might be able to share a screen. Let me see. Um, where is it? Harmonica. Um, let's see if I can do this. Nope, that's not the one. I will. Uh, Here we go. 12 positions,
Okay. See if it
and
comes up.
let's go. Um, Share screen. I don't know if you can see this or not,
Nothing yet. No.
but this is. Okay, can you see that?
No, just seeing you still.
I
I've
might,
wanted to try share screen myself, but I could never work it out.
okay.
He's not sharing anything at the moment to
Yeah, I
see his
don't know.
numbers.
Yeah. I'll hit cancel. Anyways, if you go to harmonica 123,
Right.
the man is Ronnie Shellist, and he's a good harmonica player. He's got charts for free that you can have. There are 12 positions on the harmonica,
Right.
and like this one's first position. That's just blowing on the first hole. But the second
Yeah.
position is the second hole draw. And third position is way up here in the third octave. But I don't know exactly how it works. But yeah, each harmonica has a different key because you only have
Right.
10 holes in it. So,
So like
you
a
have
higher
that
range of
key, and
notes,
blues
a lower
players and
range
rock
of
and roll players. Right. Yeah, it's not like a guitar. It's not one thing where you can go all up and down scales
notes.
and stuff like that. I mean, you have to have. I mean, you go up and down a scale, but you can't switch over to another key without
Right.
messing it all up. So you need a
Right.
different harmonica to do another song in another key. So each song has its own harmonica basically, and you just got
Right.
to figure out which ones they are. And when it comes to actually blowing the harmonica, Most people do it in second position so they can get their bends out of it, because all of your bends are on your draw notes. So if you're, well, most of them anyways. So if you're playing harmonica in the key of the harmonica, this is a C harmonica, all you're hearing is, and there's really nothing to it. You just sound like a little kid. But then you go into second position and play in the key of G. It sounds just dynamically better.
Right.
You know, doing it on the draw notes. So other than, it's the only wind instrument that I know of that is both, you play both the draw and the blow, but is also invisible.
Right.
And if you think about it, you can't see it when it's right here, and your hands are over it.
Yeah.
So the audience can't see it either. So it's the only invisible instrument that you can get.
Yeah.
It's kind of neat.
Yeah. Because I was telling you before once in a chat, there's a guy that like, where's that Sun Records before Elvis went there? Harmonica Frank Floyd, I think his name was, and he'd play. He just put it in his mouth. He'd put it in his mouth and like work it around his mouth while he's playing the guitar. So he'd sort of something like that.
I know what you're talking about.
Yeah. It's crazy stuff. You're not going to try that yourself sometime.
That. Yeah.
I saw it on the wiki page.
It's a trick, but it's mostly tongue blocking.
Right. Interesting. He was like one of the guys. He went to all the traveling road shows they used to do back in the day, like the medicine fairs or something like that. He used to play at all them, and like it's mostly like a carny kind of, I suppose, there's more than a musician. But yeah, interesting story that fella's got. What make of the harmonica have you got? Because my girlfriend's got a harmonica that her granddad brought back from World War I Germany, and she wants to know if she's just a Hohner, which maybe they was the guys who made him in the first place. Have you heard of them, Hohner?
Yeah, I'll bet it's a Marine band, isn't it?
No, I don't know. I'm not sure. I just know he got it out there in Germany.
Like this, I have some Marine bands,
right?
And yeah, they got the wooden comb and everything. Boy, that's really not coming in very good. Let me try to adjust this screen a little bit.
Yes.
See if I can fade. Yeah, we'll make the other thing look stupid. But yeah, this is Marine band, and this is the classic Hohner that everybody gets.
Right.
But you know, you can see the stamp where the key is up here on the end.
Right.
And this is a minor. You can see the M in the middle there.
Right.
And that's so this is a E minor.
Okay.
But yeah, but I play the progressive special 20s. These are the new things, and they are a lot tighter with the air control, and you don't hear the air blowing out the sides of it and stuff like that too. And the reeds are recessed in these plastic combs, except and the outer casing here is where your lip goes, because you get the stainless. It's pretty good for your lip to slide on. Now you get these plastic combs and like big Janbergs and stuff like that, and your lips will actually get more traction, and you won't be able to play the son of a bitch. But these ones here are the ones that I play professionally.
Right.
So I play the Hohner Progressive 20 series, and most of the big pros also do that too. There's a few other harmonicas and stuff, but so far as these goes, I can get these custom built with different kinds of combs and reed plates and metals, and there's a little bit of metallurgy involved in it also. So because it's just such a fine thing, the reeds.
So harmonica technology hasn't stood still. It's progressing all the time. There's new technology being added all the time to them. Is there? Yeah. You wouldn't think it really, but it makes sense
all the time. There's a
That's cool.
guy called Brendan Power, Brendan Power, and I think he's in the UK. But he has invented about a dozen different types of harmonicas, including this one, the oldest Seidel. Um, it's the oldest harmonica factory in the world,
Okay.
and from Germany, and it's a little bit wider than the Honers. So, but this one's called a blues bender because if you go for some odd reason he's got it with a couple of notes on it that are flat, and they just sound. And I just don't like that. I like the regular harmonica. But you get up into the upper register, and it's super hard to. Well, I can do it, but most harmonica players can't do it. But this one is designed so you can bend on that very high octave on there. So when
Right.
you're doing blues or whatever, and you're getting right up there trying to do a show, it you got that extra octave that you're actually bending them on. Play a lot of rock and roll and blues and stuff like that. And that was, to do that because people would take their harmonicas and try it. And here's a regular one. They kind of blend them together and it sound like crap. They couldn't bend them. They didn't have the embouchure correct to go.
Right.
But
It's all about the
it's
person of the lips.
it's just yeah, it is. Well, it's the lips and it's the jaw dropping. It's how you hold the thing. You got
Yeah.
to use your throat, and you use your diaphragm, in the air column. There's a lot to it that you got to do in order to get it just right and have a good tonality. Because your equipment isn't going to give you the tone. It's you that has to have the tone, and you have to use your whole body to do it.
Mm.
So
I was just thinking, like in crazy rock and roll bands that have two guitars on top of each other. Has anyone considered like putting 4 harmonicas in a row like that? So you go, ooh, you got the whole range. Is that
oh
just?
yeah, yep. There's all kinds of stuff like that already. They even have them on wheels. The great big ones for the concertinas and stuff like that. They even have them on
Really?
wheels, so you can take them and you play it, and then you just flip it over a little bit, and then you got like 4 or
No.
5 harmonicas on there, and then they just play it
Oh
in a different
wow.
key, and then they got a little slide bar on there, so you can have a straight key, and then you push
Right.
the slide, and it's a minor key.
Okay.
So it's just super articulate, and I play a little bit of classical
Mm.
also, like William Tell's Fifth Overture, a little bit of Beethoven, but that's about, my white whale is Flight of the Bumblebee.
Oh,
I will
what
play
about?
that damn thing one day.
Right.
But
That's your aim.
it's not just
That's the
about
tricky
going
one.
fast.
Yeah. Precise
Yeah,
as
yeah,
well.
it is. And it's not just about playing fast, it's about being precise.
Yeah. Have you got a favorite tune that you play? One that gets you.
No, no, not necessarily. I get all choked up for a lot of different music,
Right.
but I don't have a particular favorite, and I try not to get burnt out on doing one thing and concentrating on anything.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's a toughie. I think it's more like the genre would be my favorite.
Right.
Like the blues music is my favorite, and a lot of rock and roll, but it's got to be
Mm.
badass. And I can't find anybody that wants to do like heavy metal with. You ever listen to Brother Kane? Got No Shame.
No. I heard that name. Is
Well,
that the name of the band?
it's kind of like a '90s.
Right.
Yeah, it's called Brother Kane, and
Right. I've
and
not
their
heard of them.
song is
No.
"Got No Shame." It's got a badass harmonica all the way through it,
All
but
right.
it's pretty
All
metal
right.
and
There's a lot of
pretty high
folk.
energy. But I want to do stuff like that.
Yeah, there's a lot of folk metal now, like folk metal, and people mixing different folk stuff with metal. So there'll be violins, there's been bagpipes, there's been bloody well. Oh, what else have they been? I don't know, probably some. Yeah, there was a black metal band I knew had a flute player. So all these different instruments have come in. You need to find someone doing bluegrass metal, and you could go in there with some harmonica or something like that, or some blues metal maybe.
Yeah, I could play pretty fast doing that. Yeah,
you need to
yeah, I
find
could
some
do
musicians
something like
to
that.
set it up. Yeah, that'd be cool.
Yeah, I just wish, I've had people that even was going to go on my channel, and they've told me back that through email, no, 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 I'm not gonna do it now because of COVID and all this other stuff. And it's like, you're not gonna get the virus from me through your computer.
No,
So why are you a chicken? If you're gonna
yeah,
be a musician, I mean, you're out
yeah,
there looking at somebody right in the eyes. It's nothing to look into a camera. I don't see what
no.
the big deal is. I really don't.
Imagine,
It's all the
uh,
same thing. Stage fright.
imagine it must be tricky. Like at the moment, we've got a bit of lag between me and you, haven't we? So imagine if they're trying to do a jam with a little bit of lag going on. It just must make it impossible.
Yeah, it is. It is impossible. You'd have to do a
Mm,
compilation video. Like Will Wild actually is in London, I think, and he's a
right.
rock and roll harmonica player. But he does compilations with other people, but they just one person records and then they email each other,
Yeah.
back and forth until they get it right with a same like jam track or whatever. And I
Yeah.
guess that's how they edit all that stuff.
Yeah. You
But
got to have a
I have a hard
studio and
time doing that
recording.
stuff. I
Yeah.
Yeah,
You got to have the equipment for it. Yeah.
technology is not my friend.
No, well, you've got green screen. You're working it out, mate. You got green screen. I've never been able to work that out. So you're a step ahead of me so far, anyway.
Yeah, and I figured out how I can do it for $3.
That's even better.
You know,
That's even better.
just
Yeah.
go to just like my microphone. You know how they have like the socks over the microphones,
Oh
so you don't
yeah.
hit them and stuff
Yeah.
all the time.
Yeah.
Well, this
Yeah.
is just another dollar store thing and some rubber bands. This is the stuff that goes on the bottom of your cupboard so your teacups don't slide on the wood. It's
Right. I
just the
get you.
padding for that, and
Yeah.
I put it over there, and in the way it looks right now, it looks like Jimi Hendrix. So I named this microphone Jimi Hendrix.
Yeah. If you squint, I was like, I get where you're coming from. Yeah.
Every time so every time I
Yeah.
take this to the studio, I'm telling them now
He did wear a headband as well,
playing
didn't
with Jimmy.
he? Yeah.
Yeah.
That's true. Yeah. Oh man, you got anything else you want to talk about? You got anything coming up on your channel you want to mention?
Eastern Standard Time at 5 p.m. every Saturday, I have a live with the Harmonica Man,
Right.
and it's usually a chat, but I want to do interviews like this with other musicians, and then kind of split it up to where other people can come in and ask. Yes, I am a blues player.
Yeah. Jay plays guitar. Maybe he'll come and play with you someday. This is
Oh,
over
that'd
easy
be
mode.
cool.
Yeah,
Yeah,
Jay, he plays
yeah.
guitar. And if Werewolf by Lunchtime comes on, can you give him some tips? Because he says he's going to try and learn how to play harmonica now. Can you give him a few tips if he comes on and watches you on the on your jams?
Oh yeah, definitely. I do that all the time. I have a few people around the world that they're like, well, how do you do this or that? And I'm like, oh, this is easy, and I'll show them, and then I'm like, hey, come back at the end of the week or whatever, and we can chat about it and see how your progress is, because I just love doing that stuff, and it's not about me making money or anything. It's just helping
No.
other musicians come along and just enjoy themselves a lot better. So I'll show them how to do it right off the bat, so they can grow as a musician. So I don't
Yeah.
have a problem with that. Sure, and that's what my channel is all about. Come on in and have some fun with me.
Yeah, maybe
Um,
I'll dig out my
yeah,
girlfriend's granddad's old harmonica and join you for a. I'll probably get dribbled down my beard though. That's the thing. It might be a
yeah,
bit messy.
Yeah, you might want to clip your mustache just a little bit above your lip, and around the edges.
I'll be
Because
ripping it out.
I've had when I was young, I'd get to going, and next thing you know, it'd get stuck. It'd get between the metal and stuff, and that one
Yeah.
big hair right on the corner, and then I'd go running, and the damn harmonica's hanging down like this. And
Yeah, that's painful.
It's pretty funny.
Painful, man. Yeah. Oh well, right. We've been gone nearly an hour now, mate. I'll really say goodbye. I hope you've had hope you enjoyed having a chat with us. It was good talking to you, mate.
Yeah, good talking to you too. Is there anything anybody wants to hear me
any
play
questions?
real quick? Or
I'm easy. If you want to play a little bit, good idea. Or if anyone's got any questions, okay. He's talking about people playing them in prison. Cool.
That was one of my solos for Crossroads, Robert Johnson.
Werewolf says, do you know Roadhouse Blues by the Doors?
Oh, yeah. Let's see. I haven't played it in years, though. It's been about a decade, so forgive me. Something like that. That's the general tune, anyway.
I don't know. I don't know that one. I'll have to take your word for that. Was that right, Werewolf? Let us know if that was right, and make sure you go and jam with Harmonica Man. Do you want to give that time out again? Was it 5 o'clock Eastern? Was it?
Yes.
And that's Saturdays. Cool.
Yes. Yep.
And then.
And right now, I'm getting better too. I'm taking lessons with the top harmonica player on the planet right now, Mr. Jason Ritchie. He is my teacher, and he gave me a good lesson yesterday. So,
that's all
it's only going to get better from here. Even when you're a pro, you can still learn stuff.
Yeah.
So I'm basically starting over. So,
how far away are you from the flight of the Bumblebee? Do you reckon?
From the flying Bumblebee Dragon.
No, the Flight of the Bumblebee. That's the one you was trying to learn. Was it Flight of the Bumblebee you was trying to learn? Which one was it? Was it that one?
Oh yeah.
How far away from that do you reckon you are?
I haven't done it in a really long time. A long way. Because it starts off. It's just really fast. Then you got to go into minor keys.
It's kind of too fast to actually make. Yeah, it's too fast to make sense of the blowing kind of thing when it's going that fast. Yeah. Okay. Right then. Cheers for coming on, mate. I'll say goodbye now. Thanks for coming in for a chat.
All right, thanks. Goodbye, everybody. Come in. To me.
Yeah. Anyone wants to come and have a chat with me about their music memories at some point? Werewolf, stop being lazy. Come and have a chat with me about your music memories. And cheers for coming in, everybody. Bye, everyone.